What's up, everybody, and welcome to the J and K Show. I'm your man, J Rob, and we got my brother right there, K. What up, K?
Yo, what's good, man?
I'm good. I'm relaxing. It's fall. Weather's cooler. You still rocking the sweaters? But you stole my colors? You got... Yo,
I saw that when we came in the studio
man.
Today. That was an accident, man. We look real crazy right now.
Yeah, I don't really like this, bro.
I
know our names are similar, but we don't gotta. We ain't twins, brother.
I know, but you know what? If I had to dress like anyone, I'm glad it's like my brother.
Oh, I appreciate you, my brother.
There you go.
You are my brother.
Indeed, man.
Much love.
For sure. Indeed.
All right, so we had a lot of news going on this week, so we're going to get right at it. But before we start, actually, there was some sad passings that happened this week. Two huge sports icons, right? The first one being Dikembe Mutombo. He passed away, I believe he was like 58 years old, I believe.
58 years old.
58 years old. I believe he passed away from brain cancer, very sadly. And it's just a huge loss. I mean, he has done so much great work after his NBA career, humanitarian, and he's done such great work. And it's just so sad. And the mark that he left on this world, not only the sports world, but what he's done has been incredible. What kind of loss do you think this is for not only the sports world, but for everybody? It's just tragic.
No, I think this is a huge loss, man. Yeah. Every now and again, we'll come across someone where you're hard pressed to find someone that has a negative thing to say about someone.
Yeah.
And Dikembe Mutombo was one of those people.
Yeah.
Right. So as news got out that he had passed away, you started seeing clips and people chiming in. And granted, this happens a lot. A lot of people have nothing but good things to say about people when they're passing. But this felt different. Like even while he was living and alive, you don't recall hearing any scandal or anything negative about him. He is credited with using the money that he earned, his own personal money, going towards opening hospitals.
Yeah.
He took a number of players back home with him to, and asked them to help cash in on their fame and who they are, to help with causes over in countries where people were far more disadvantaged.
Yeah.
He was known for pausing and talking with anyone. You approach him, had an opportunity to meet him. He's every bit of 7'2". He was just a nice guy, man, like a genuinely nice guy. And I've been watching for a long time. I'm a big college hoop fan.
Right, yeah.
And I remember him at Georgetown playing on a team with Alonzo Mourning. And it's a tough loss. He was just a nice guy. Yeah, good dude.
Yeah, it's a huge loss for the NBA world and the world in general. And like you said, when you meet people who are so nice, a lot of these times you meet these celebrities, these athletes, it may not be that. So they have this kind of air about them.
Right.
But when you have someone as genuine and nice and helpful as him, it just makes you realize it's a huge loss that will never be replaced.
Indeed.
So
yeah.
it's definitely tough. And so R.I.P. to him, of course.
Yep.
Also, another great loss that we had in the baseball world, Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Pete Rose, he passed away as well. I believe he was 83 years old, 83, 84, something like that. He was a great baseball player. He set so many different records, and he played the game at a level that a lot of other players didn't reach at that level. Obviously, he had some scandals as well that he dealt with, but for what he did for the game of baseball, it cannot be replaced. So in terms of what do you think that the Major League Baseball is losing in Pete Rose not being with us any longer?
Yeah. So before we started, off camera, before we started taping, Doc and I were talking about this. Maybe you can chime in on this, but
right.
Doc mentioned something that really kind of stuck with me, and that it was that Pete Rose essentially started how, like the way we play today.
Yeah.
Often a number of things that we do, Pete Rose started this back in the 70s, right?
Okay.
The head first slides and so on. And I can remember growing up, and I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was very much a kid when Pete was playing. And so the saying was, you had a favorite team
Yeah.
that you loved,
Mm-hmm.
and you loved Pete Rose. So it was kind of like no matter who you loved or what team you followed, you added Pete Rose to that
Rose,
team, right?
regardless of what team,
regardless of what your
right.
affinity was
Yeah.
and what city, what team that you had. And he was that he was that he had that magnitude as a player. You wanted to play like him. You never had the feeling like he was no longer a kid out there in the park or anything like that. He was really good. What do you think?
Charlie Hustle.
Yeah, Charlie Hustle, man. Yeah, it's good.
Got to see Pete play on TV. I never really got to a live game to see him, but
Yeah.
man, the amount of competitiveness he had in his playing style was unreal, crazy.
Yeah, and he's got some stats that may never come down too.
Right.
You know, he leads the. It's got the most hits in the history of the sport, and that's saying something, right?
Absolutely.
You know, baseball's been around for a century, and anytime you can say that you have the most in any record,
Yeah.
he has that, and it's interesting because the record before he broke it, no one thought that it could be broken. And he absolutely did.
Whose record was it? Was it Ty Cobb's?
It was Ty Cobb's.
It was Ty Cobb's. Okay,
Yeah, so
right.
he broke that record. He just has a number of records. Listen, you can't talk about Pete Rose without also talking about how he's not in the Hall of Fame because he bet on baseball,
Right.
specifically games that he was involved in.
Right.
As Doc and I were also talking about, listen, if he were eligible, I think at some point he would make it in.
Right.
But he's at the point that he's not eligible. I don't think I'm speaking wrongly about this, where he doesn't even have the opportunity to be voted in by the sports writers.
Right.
Because his name isn't. Now, let's see what happens. Sometimes what we can't do in life happens for us in death. So maybe something will change, and the commissioner does something differently to honor him. It's actually bad.
How detrimental do the both of you guys think the whole betting scandal was on his legacy? Do you think, the baseball world and the world in general ever forgave him for that? Do you think he was able to move on past that? Because I know it was something that a lot of people felt like stained his legacy. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think there was more. I think less people, the less fans, the lay person felt about it. I think it was more kind of industry,
Yeah.
the organization, MLB, and listen, I understand why, right? Why they would take that position.
Yeah.
We tune in, we as fans tune into these sporting events, these games, and just imagine if we all in our minds felt that the winner was predetermined,
Yeah.
or the fix was in.
Right.
It would destroy the concept, the concept of what we're following, what sports means to us. It would certainly have a different connotation to that. And so I understand that you have to be very dogged about the idea of not soiling the idea around fair play.
Yeah.
So I do understand that. Now, notwithstanding that, I don't think it soiled him at all.
Okay.
I think he was incredibly revered. Long lines anytime he came out signing baseball cards and other memorabilia.
Right.
It didn't seem to hurt him. It was more procedural, and like I said, I understand why. And he always wanted it removed. Because I think he said he wanted to work in baseball again.
Right.
Even more so than the Hall of Fame. He wanted to so he wasn't even allowed to work in baseball. And this
Right.
is something
So no commentating, he couldn't do anything involved
anything
in it at all.
associated with MLB.
Right.
And he
Okay.
loved the sport so
Yeah.
much, and was just totally he was an outcast from that standpoint. So that part was tough. He always wished he was able to kind of be involved in it again. And I also think what hurts him too is probably the first 15 to 20 years after it all came out, he continued to deny it.
Yeah.
And then eventually said, he came clean and said, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
So who knows, had he owned it earlier on
Right.
and said, hey, I did it, and did that walk of shame, and we could have, we love a redemption story in this country.
Right.
Who knows what would have happened. So, but you're going to carry that lie for 15, 20 years
Yeah.
when you had all of this backup and evidence supporting that had the proof to show that you did this, I don't think that helped him.
Right. It didn't. And it happens so many times in today's day and age with a lot of these celebrities and these athletes. When they do something wrong, I kind of see where sometimes people, yeah, you got to just, if you make a statement, you kind of just have to stick with it and write it out. Or, like you said, to your point, if you know that you got caught, just own it immediately, ASAP. And then you have a better chance of people forgiving you and letting people, allow you to move on and getting it. But for what he did for baseball and his grit and his hard play and everything was, compared to no others. And, he'll definitely be missed. And I just loved everything that he did for the sport. So he'll definitely be missed. And I think everybody knows how much of a great person and one of the hardest players in baseball.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's a great thing.
Indeed.
Another sad loss that we had also this week, just today, a matter of fact, that we learned about today was in Hollywood. Actor John Amos, the legend who played the father on Good Times, right? He passed away at the age of 83 or 84. I think it was 84. And the news just broke today, but he actually passed away on August 21st.
Oh, wow.
Right. And today now is October 1st, right? So his son just broke the news today. Apparently, he passed away of natural causes. And his son just wanted to come out with the news. And I know a lot of people online, they're saying, oh, okay, well, this happened August 21st. Why are we just finding out about it today? And I realize sometimes these things happen in families. When a family wants to, put it out there that their loved one has passed away, that's basically left up to the family, Yeah. But you see a lot of people online just saying, well, why didn't they tell us about it? I mean, that's on them. But from what he has accomplished, it's amazing. So much success with the Good Times. He played in Roots as Kunta Kinte and just so many different characters that he's played. Coming to America, obviously. So he's had a great career, and I think he was only on Good Times for the first 3 seasons, and I know he was butting heads with the producers of Good Times for a little bit because they weren't portraying black people like he knows, because he's a black man, and obviously they was writing different scripts, and he was telling them, listen, you can't do that. And they said to him, well, what do you mean we can't do that? We're the producers. And he was like, black people don't talk like that. They don't act like that. They don't think like that. So I think there was a lot of headbutting there. And, I guess they just let him go. He was fired from the show just after 3 seasons. And that's why he left. But I mean, what a huge loss. What kind of impact do you think this is going to have on Hollywood? Because he was such an instrumental part, especially not of just actors, but definitely black actors getting ahead in this world and being so successful. What kind of impact do you think
I don't think impact on Hollywood. None. I think zero impact on Hollywood. But I think there's more on a personal. I think kind of personally, those of us who were fans of his, those of us who were fans of his work. So John Amos is one of those folks where I think, and at least in black culture, where tons of folks know who he is, but he's really I think he's known for 2 roles, right? The owner McDowell's, right?
Right.
And John Evans, I think was his name, in Good Times. James Evans, there you go, James Evans. So those two roles were iconic. He took those. You could not replace him, right? That's when he absolutely owned those. So I think from that standpoint, he would be missed, right? New Jersey's own. I think he was born in like East Orange or something like that. He was a Jersey guy, and he'll be missed. Listen, I know when Coming to America, the second one, came out a couple of years ago, maybe a year or 2 ago. He had that one little cameo, and he didn't look the same. You can definitely tell he had aged, and he was not the same. Nothing wrong with that. Listen, we should all be so blessed as to get older. I think from that standpoint, he'll be missed. He was in. So I have a personal movie. Which Way Is Up?
Okay.
I believe it's Which Way Is Up, and starred
Okay.
Bill Cosby, Sidney Poitier. One of my favorite movies. So
Okay.
those as a duo, those guys did 3 movies, I believe.
Okay.
For Warner Brothers.
Okay.
John Amos was in one of them. He was in Which Way Is Up.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that was the. Totally. I know the internet's going to correct me. Which Way Is Up was the Richard Pryor movie.
Okay.
The movie I'm thinking about is Let's Do It Again.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Let's
Okay.
Do It Again. Sorry
Okay.
about that. Before you guys start correcting
Blowing
me,
them up, right.
I caught it myself. So there.
It was a long time ago.
So
A
there,
long
I
time
caught my
ago.
own mistake.
Right,
But
right.
it was Let's Do It Again.
Okay.
And he played a gangster from like St. Louis or something like that. I loved him in that movie, and so that's a movie that sticks out to me. Even not just the Coming to America, but I saw it as a kid, and even to this day, if I see it, I always got to stop and look at it. And he just played the hell out of it.
Right.
It was so interesting for me to see him on the screen in something else besides Good Times, and it was like, oh, what is this? And he played the hell out of that role.
Right.
So, yeah, he's going to really be missed, man.
He's gonna. And I loved Good Times, by the way. Great show, and such a strong black father in the household. He was hard as hell on the kids, and I know everyone. It's sad, right? Because I believe the kids are. I think Esther Roll passed away. I think the only ones that are still alive from the Good Times are all of the kids, right? So everyone else has passed away, but such a great show. Such a great character. He was strong. He disciplined his kids, and it was a great show. It was a great father figure for the black family. So that was a great show. He's a great talent that we've lost, and definitely R.I.P. to him, as well as Dikembe and Pete Rose as well. So
Rest in peace.
rest in peace, guys.